Today, we're discussing the Mac. What about the Mac? Everything about the Mac. Check it out. You've seen in my video maybe about a month ago that I said I was going to release some videos about the Mac, and we're going to go over a bunch of different things about it. So basically, we're going to release these in a bunch of different series of events and different, we'll do like a part 1 and a part 2 and a part 3, and we'll see how many different parts that we can do. There's a lot of different things to discuss. There's a lot of basics to go over. Like I said in the video that I first made, and we'll link back to that so you can see what I'm talking about, we'll see what it's like to transition from a PC to a Mac. And it's kind of a big transition. I've been solely a PC user all of my life. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've been using a PC. So obviously it was a pretty difficult maybe transition for me. It was really weird to get used to, but for the last month, when I'm at home, the only thing that I use is my MacBook. And honestly, I truly hate saying this because for years and years and years, I'd always say, nah, I'd never get a Mac. They're overpriced. It's not worth it. What could it possibly do better than a PC? Everything. Honestly. Just everything. The hardware of this machine is fantastic. I mean, it runs flawlessly. Always. Always. The trackpad on this thing is unlike anything I've ever used before in my entire life. And for a laptop, I hate hooking up a mouse to it or a keyboard. I want to use everything that's on the laptop. That's why I have a laptop. I want the trackpad to work great. I want that to work so freaking smooth that this is, I feel like this is exactly why I bought this machine, because it does everything I want it to do. I paid a lot of money for it, and I want it to perform exactly the way I want it to. Well, guess what? It does. It works flawlessly. I could say that a million trillion times, but it really does. I'm very happy with, the purchase that I made. It cost me about $1,000. For the same specs and everything, you probably could have bought a PC for legitimately maybe half of the price. Would it perform the same? Yeah, that's going to be hit or miss. It depends on who you ask. If you ask, a true devoted Mac person, they're always going to say, oh yeah, the Mac will, outperform that in a heartbeat. If you ask a pure PC person, they're going to say, oh man, the PC will outperform that thing, tenfold. And, you can benchmark these things and you can see which one actually does outperform one another. And sure, like if you benchmark it to do one thing, one of them might outperform the other one, and vice versa. It depends on what you're using and utilizing with these laptops that'll make it outperform one another. But as far as functionality, the way that everything works, honestly, it's fantastic. Everything that it lays out, the way that it lays everything out, I think is really well done. The way that everything functions is really well done. The way that you install programs, it's so simple. I mean, they really made it simple. For me, it was so difficult at first. I'm like, why is it so hard to install a program? And then I kind of looked at it and I stepped back and I was like, wait, it's really not. I mean, you just kind of run the program and most of the time, like if you install a program, you'll, double click it and it might ask you to like drag the icon over to applications so it shows up in your applications, and then it's there. It's like, wow, like what did I do? It's like it seems like sometimes you don't even do anything. So that's really cool. And to delete a program, I mean, honestly, I don't think they could have made it any easier. I mean, come on. Like with Windows, like you have to like go in the control panel, and then you have to go in uninstall programs, and then you have to click uninstall, and then you have to click next 1,000 freaking times to uninstall a program. With this, and I'll show you on my screen here, I'm going to find something I don't really use. I'll just go with VLC because it's really simple to install anyway. All you do, you go into Go and you click on Applications, and this is, obviously the way I'm going to show you to do it. But anyway, you find that program, you just drag it to your trash. It's gone. That's it. You can clear out your trash, poof, it's gone. How much easier can you make that? I mean, Windows, Microsoft, what are you doing? Simplify things for people. Mac does a great job of that. And it just, like I said, I'll say it probably a million times in this video, but it performs so well. Honestly couldn't be happier with what I got. And, we'll show just, we want about this Mac. So we go into about this Mac. So basically, this is the MacBook that I'm running. So it shows you that I'm running the OS X Yosemite. I'm running version 10.10.3. That's the operating system. And it's the MacBook Pro 13-inch, and it's mid-2012. So it's a little bit older, which is fine. No big deal. Like I said, it works so good. Anyway, the processor, 2.5 gigahertz Intel Core i5. This is more on the low end, but it's still, I do all of my video editing from this now, and it works great. The memory is 4 gigs. So I got 4 gigs of RAM, DDR3 at 1600 megahertz, which it's pretty good. The graphics, Intel HD graphics 4000, and it has a gig on board, which is pretty fantastic. The hard drive, and now I'm going to go into a little bit more details because here's why I bought this thing, and here's where the price range and why I did this comes into play. So this specific MacBook, like I said, cost me around $1,000. It came with only 4 gigs of RAM on board, and it only came with a 500 gigabyte SATA drive. And you're like, why is it a SATA drive? Why do I have a spinning hard drive in here? So when I was looking at everything, I noticed in like the MacBook Airs and some of the other MacBooks, like the newest MacBook that came out, you couldn't upgrade the RAM. Everything was soldered in. You couldn't upgrade the hard drive, so you couldn't change out the hard drive at any point. And that was a huge deal breaker for me. I said, why am I going to spend all of this money on a laptop that I can't even upgrade at any point? If something goes bad, if the RAM goes bad, I can't do it. I can't change out the RAM. I can't change out the hard drive. No, I don't want that. That's the one thing that I could say about the Apples that I did not like. And, whatever. They're doing their own thing and they're making tons of money doing it. But for me, that wasn't my deal. Was not happy with that. So I got this MacBook Pro because I can upgrade the hard drive, I can swap it out myself, I can do all of that myself, and I can also do the same with the RAM. So at some point, hopefully in a couple weeks here, I'm definitely going to be showing you a video on how to swap out the hard drive. Before that, though, I'll show you how to create a bootable disk so you can install the operating system and stuff like that. I'll also show you how to back up your files on the Mac, just so we have all of that covered before we dive into actually removing the case or the back of this so we can replace the hard drive and do all that fun stuff. But that's why I bought this MacBook Pro, because I can actually make those changes to the MacBook. And maybe down the line, I have to replace the motherboard on it. Hopefully I should be able to do that myself too. But that's what made me pick this specific MacBook model. So that's, obviously my choice. For you, it might be different. You may not be interested in that. Maybe you have the money where you can go out and spend $2,000 on, top of the line MacBook Pro, and you're happy with it. You're satisfied with it. It does everything that you need it to do. And then down the road, if you need something to be replaced, maybe you have the money. You can just say, screw it. I'm going to buy a new one. For me, I want my computer to last a long time. So that's, for me. Down the line, I know the hard drive is they all go bad. Eventually they go bad, they get slow, yada, yada, yada. You got to replace them. The same with like RAM. RAM could go bad eventually. But the thing about RAM is, as technology grows, you tend to need more RAM to do everything, to run everything at a smooth rate. So for me, I'm going to probably bump this thing up to the 16 gigabyte which is the max that this laptop will hold, 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's pretty big. So I'm very happy with that too. But so anyway, I'm obviously going to make all these upgrades. I'm going to throw a solid state hard drive in there because that's obviously the best choice to do. And I know once I throw a solid state hard drive in there, I throw 16 gigabytes of RAM in this thing, it's going to be a beast. And I cannot wait to do that. Let me tell you, that's going to be a huge, huge victory when I get this thing performing to its optimal performance. Obviously, right now, I haven't wanted to replace the hard drive or upgrade the RAM because I'm still playing around with it just as the base, just so I can get a feel for it before I start pumping money into it and all that fun stuff. So For me, I'm just toying with it right now. But I just wanted to kind of give you a quick overview of what I'm doing so far with the Mac, and that's pretty much everything. When I come home and I need to get on the computer, I pull open my Mac and I do everything I need to do. And I love it. So in the next videos, and maybe I won't even call this one part one. But in part one, we're just going to kind of give you a brief rundown of, now you can see my screen. We're going to go over system preferences and kind of how that differs from a Windows PC. We're going to go over the dock down here and what's different about that compared to like the taskbar in Windows. And we'll also talk about how when you're in different programs, the tile bar, I wouldn't even say the tile bar, it's the your menu bar at the top of the screen changes depending on what program you're in, and you'll get a lot more options for that. So you can see if I click on system preferences that it'll say system preferences, and I'll get some different options here, yada yada yada. If I just go back to like this, I have Dropbox open, but that's just my folder, but this is the Finder basically. If I were to open up, let's say Google Chrome, I'm going to have some different options for Chrome here. So, that's pretty cool too. We'll go over that. We're going to go over everything that we can as far as transitioning. So part one, let's say maybe part one I just go over discussing the dock and the way that applications work, and as far as, your menu bar and how that changes. Maybe part two will go over system preferences. If you have any suggestions on what you'd really like to see as far as how it differs from a Windows PC, please leave a comment below. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what I can talk about that will maybe help you, or maybe I can help you decide whether you really need to get a Mac or you can stay with a PC. Obviously, again, another reason why I went with the Mac is because a lot of the really video editing driven programs and the way that the Mac functions with the video editing, it runs really smooth with the Mac OS compared to Windows. And again, people will argue with you on this. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying from my personal views and from what I have already done, I can see that this thing already outperforms in that video editing area, or even photo editing in Photoshop, much smoother than a Windows PC. If you want to argue with me about that, that's fine. I'm not going to throw a huge argument with you. I'm just going to say, from what I've seen, it works flawlessly. So again, if you have anything that you want to see regarding the way that this MacBook works, or any Mac OS, stuff like that, let me know what you want to see. But part one, part two, we're going to discuss the dock and the way the programs work. We'll go into system preferences. We'll talk about installing applications. We'll talk about deleting applications. We'll just kind of touch base on everything that we can. It's going to be pretty basic to help you make that transition from your Windows PC over to a Mac. So again, leave a comment below, and I hope you enjoyed kind of this brief rundown of what we're going over. And I hope you enjoy. Always please like and subscribe. I really, really appreciate that so much. You have no idea. I love doing this for you guys. So have a great day or great night, whatever it is, and hope you watch more videos. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Take care.